Okay. We just watched The Ritual on Netflix.
The
Can't
ritual.
remember who it's directed by, but yeah, it was
David Bruckner.
David Bruckner. Based. He's a based lad. We'll have to watch more of his films very quickly. This review will contain spoilers. Go to the number on screen if you don't want the spoilers and just want the recommendation or not. Anyway, so yeah, we just got finished with watching The Ritual. Um, what did you think? How did it hit you?
A ritual is one of my preferred horror, scary, spooky, whatever type movies. So it hit good for me.
Yeah,
I enjoy this film.
I this is the first time I've watched it. You've watched it at least once before, and
Hmm.
you were the one who recommended it to me. And yeah, I really liked it. I like how we've pretty much only reviewed horror movies so far on the channel, which is not intentional at all.
We're a horror film critique film
We only
channel.
review horror films.
We only like horrors.
Um, of course. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was shot really well. It was everything was just really good about it, and I would definitely recommend watching it. It builds tension very well. I know I'm getting ahead of the list here, but it that was part of it that
Good.
I just like that a lot. So I really enjoyed the film. The acting was good. Everything was good about it in general. Um, to get more specific, what do you think of the story?
I enjoyed the story. I mean, it's not a overly deep setup. You know, they have the beginning shows you the group of friends are out drinking and gallivanting or whatever, and they want to get a nightcap, and they go into a liquor store, and the one friend gets like beat. I don't know what is he killed with? It's not a machete? It's like some kind of sharp object.
No, I'm pretty sure it's machete. I think it's a
Is
machete.
it a machete? All right, yeah. He gets like macheted, and his other friend hides like a little, coward. And that's kind of an overarching theme in the entire film is that he feels like his grief of not defending his friend. And then they were discussing before they went to the liquor store about taking like a lad trip, just on an adventure, like a camping. I think there was one of them didn't want to do camping. I can't remember which character it was, and the rest of them were
It's
like, "Yeah, let's go do that. It's
it's
based."
the main character. That's why it's like
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that makes more sense.
He's like I'm not gonna go
And
camping.
the one other friend they do this like little remembrance thing for their friend, which is nice. And the movie kind of starts actually, it hits you hard with the murder, and then it kind of like lulls you back into like, okay, things are gonna be all right now. We're just chilling. And then their friend, the most annoying character in my opinion, he hurts his knee, and then they decide to take a shortcut into the spooky woods,
Can I just stop you
and
there for
that's when the
just a
yeah,
second
yeah, good.
and say that I was severely disappointed that that really annoying character was the last of them to die. That was like really annoying. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, why couldn't they've had? I'm like,
Well, it's kind of funny because that is the character that the other main character actively doesn't get along with.
true, and that part is cool, like that in their bro relationship that they have a huge falling out during the trip, and then they kind of are able to mend it up before he dies a little bit,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
But yeah, I despise that character. He's so annoying. So whiny.
It's like,
Like, my life is hard. I'm a teacher. Oh, outdoors is
my,
sadness.
I sprained my ankle. Oh no.
Yeah, he's just a giant kitty cat.
Yeah, he's really annoying. Yeah, the story. I think the story is quite interesting, and I really like the themes of like grief throughout the film. That he's the main character is really having a hard time processing. You
Mm,
know, the fact that he didn't do anything and he kind of just sat there and let his friend die,
right.
which is actually really cool character development because obviously by the end he keeps having, like you had mentioned, those really freaking awesome flashbacks. Before we like move on forward,
Yeah, they're so
oh
cool.
my god, flashbacks based in Red Pill, like I think it's three times in the film he he'll have a flashback back to inside the store where the friend dies, but every time they go back to it, it's a little bit more like the forest they're in at the time. And so like the first time,
Cool.
it's like everything's normal except the floor is grass, and then it just keeps increasing. Um, I have something else to mention about this later, but once we get to the monster. But yeah, I really
A
enjoyed the
spooky
story.
ghost.
Dude, yeah, yeah. Oh my god, the monster's really good. But so the story was really good. It had a very, in my opinion, it had a very good ending. Good had good character development. Getting to the end, he actually, yeah,
And embraces his inner Viking.
he starts screaming at things. It's freaking great.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I really enjoyed it overall, and it's one of the few horror movies where I'm like, wow, that actually was, because most horror films at the end of them you're just like, wow, that was a time, or wow, I wasted some time watching that, but this one actually had like a proper conclusion. Like it was an actual story that just so happened to be a horror film instead of just a horror film.
Yeah, it's like a drama that is a horror. It's a horror drama.
Yes, that's a good way of putting it.
Well, and it's also nice is that they didn't leave anything like cliffhangery where they could make a. I guess you could make a sequel, but you don't need to. Like the story's complete.
Yeah, it's all done. It's all put together.
Like he ain't going back. Like why would you go back?
True. Well, yeah, true. He's not going back to get his friends' bodies. Those things are staying there forever.
Stayed in the tree.
Yeah, I think someone would go in there and destroy that forest or something.
Light it on fire.
Do something with that forest. That place deserves not to exist. As pretty as it is.
He did burn all those random old chattering bodies, which was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that whole scene's really cool because at first you're like, "What's going on?" And then yeah,
Yeah,
they're all old worshippers that just have eternal life, sort of as zombie things. Is the way I interpret that.
yeah, it's kind of how I got to. Their bodies are decaying, but they have like new bodies.
And they're like, "We vibing." How did you think the acting was? Was it like good? Was there someone who stood out more than the other people?
I think it's good. I don't think any of the act. I don't think it's not groundbreaking acting. Like I don't think you would watch it and be like, "Yo, Leonardo DiCaprio did like crawled into a bear carcass and did great and gets his Emmy or Grammy or whatever."
Which,
Um,
yeah, nothing on that level.
yeah, it's passable though. I mean, they do well enough to move the story along, and I think the story is the bigger the building of tension and the creepy vibe is enough to move the story along without god tier acting.
Yes, the sound design and the music are actually probably one of the best features of this film. Because I don't normally get scared all that much. Like we've watched a bunch of stuff. I wasn't that freaked out watching the last couple horror movies we've seen or anything. This one was by far the spookiest thing we've watched on the channel so far. Especially one thing, actually, quick criticism. There were like two jump scares near the beginning of the film. They pretty much went away
True.
after that.
Yeah, they did do a couple, but to be expected.
Yeah, yeah. So the one thing, it's not really an actor, but we'll include it here anyway. The monster. Um,
Spooky ghost.
Dude, the monster. So I actually looked into the monster a little bit. Yeah, it's supposed to be inspired by Norse mythology, obviously, and the lady in the movie says that it's a bastard son of Loki, which is pretty cool because Loki has a bunch of children. Cool trivia note: in the third Marvel film, Thor film, there's Helia, and Helia is supposed to be a bastard daughter of Loki, but for whatever reason within the story they make it a daughter of Odin, even though anyway that's completely irrelevant. But
I didn't know that actually. That's good to know.
eh,
She was supposed to be in the movie. She's the first spawn of Odin.
yeah, in the I forget who he procreates with, but in actual Nordic lore, she's the daughter of Loki banging something.
Oh,
And
something spooky.
something spooky. I think her name is literally just Hel instead of in the movie it's Helia, I think, which is kind of interesting. But so yeah, the
Hmm.
monster in the ritual is a Nordic monster, and specifically because it's a son of Loki. This is something that I was confused by in the film. The really annoying character, right? He says he saw his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
Well, you see it at the end when he's on the. If you see her, it takes her form.
Yeah, yeah. So he's making people see what they want to see because he's a trickster god. He can do that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Um,
Then you mentioned like that he's a descendant of Loki.
I'm like, oh yeah, I was reading about like, oh that makes so much more sense. And like, apparently he's supposed to be the god of like misery. So all his followers are the people who are the most emotionally damaged to enter his forest.
Oh, that's why the main character gets marred because he's depressed about his friend.
Yes.
That makes a lot more sense. I'm glad you looked that up.
I'm like, oh, so that made me appreciate the film even more after I read up on it a little bit more after the film.
Yeah.
But yeah, the design of the monster itself is one of the spookiest things, in my opinion, in a long time that I've seen monster wise. Like, it's such a creative monster. I freaking love it. I'll have some pictures throughout this part of it. And
yeah, he's freaky.
Oh my god, the scenes where you can see his hands in the background on the trees because it's. I'll describe it a little
So
bit if you're
cool.
just listening to this in audio form. It's like a massive skeletonized sort of zombie elk, but imagine like probably 2 to 3 stories tall, and instead of with like spikes coming out of its back, kind of, but like squared off spikes, like
They're like horns.
yeah, and then his head is just the. Imagine 2 torsos sewed together, but it's the tops of the torsos, so there's no head on one, and the 2 arms are coming out, and they've got antlers on them, and then the other one is coming out, and where the head should be, there's sort of like a weird mandible mouth thingy with its eyes that glow red, and then its arms still are useful, and it has real like human hands, and it grabs onto things, and it's oh my god, it's so freaking creepy. That scene right before he,
So
like when he after he burns the after he burns the people in the cabin, and he goes down and he kills that guy with the old gun, and then he looks out the door, and the thing, you can see its legs standing there, and then it slowly goes down, and you see its head, and then he grabs inside, and you're like, oh my god, that's freaking terrifying.
You see the black mauve eyeball.
Yes, and
which I think is its mouth too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like its mouth, and I really actually wish they showed like its teeth. I know they don't do that, but I wish they did. Which is also kind of cool, but also not, because they just show its like face, but it's like all shrouded, and you just see its yellow eyes, which is super awesome. But yeah, oh my gosh, I just lost my train of thought. It's gone.
I was just going to say that I enjoy that they use the monster sparingly, because it makes the creepy aspect of it a lot higher.
Okay, that is actually quite literally what I was going to say. The fact that they do...
I got you, King.
They do the thing correctly where they hide the creature for like the entire film, and they only show him at the end. Because if you show your monster too quickly, or whatever the monster is supposed to be, just completely ruins the tension because you know what it is. Sometimes.
Right.
There's a couple films that I feel like get away with that, but for the most part, you have to hold it back.
Yeah, and it keeps the creepy tension, unknowing like what is actually stalking you vibe thing, and they can play with the hands on the trees, or the breaking of random branches, or how it makes you wonder, how did it throw this body up here? Because there's a giant elk that's just massacred in the beginning of the movie that's stuck to a tree.
Yeah. Oh, I actually okay. One little aspect of the creature is the fact that it has the human arms. So when it kills people, instead of like, I guess it can tear them apart, but the thing it mostly does, it just picks them up with its human arms and carries them around, and then sticks them on trees.
It pales them onto a tree.
It's like tree time.
It's like you're going to die.
I need to put you on my shelf, stick. You're like a pan.
Well, yeah, it's a good point though, because even after like the worshippers or whatever, they're like, yeah, we don't take the bodies down; they stay there. And there's a bunch of like rotted carcasses all around their little village.
They're like, oh, those are the ornaments from Christmas, last Christmas. We just keep them up.
He likes them; they make him happy.
So yeah, if you have anything else to say about the monster, I freaking love the monster. It's one of the best monsters I've seen in a long time.
No, he's cool. I mean, he's pretty much covered it. I enjoyed everything about him.
So, I think we already touched on this a little bit, but like the sound design and the music, I don't think we have to say a whole lot else. It's It's amazing. It's great.
It sounds done really well. These other things, the monster, the sound, the way the way it's filmed, all kind of make up for the actors being kind of like,
True.
they're not bad, but they're not stand out.
It's actually, yeah, if I would have to rate it now that you say it like that, or rate it based off of which category is better, the acting is probably the worst aspect of it. And I'm not really sure what the best aspect of it is. I think all the other ones are semi-tied. I think the music and the sound is probably my favorite part of the film. But also like how it's shot is really good. There's a lot of, actually I shouldn't say that. It's like it is really good, but it's not like peak filming. Not to reference another review, but Lamb, the only thing it did well was that it was shot excellently. And this doesn't, I don't think it has as good a cinematography as Lamb, but it's very close.
And it has a good monster.
Yeah, and it has a good monster. It's better in every other way than Lamb, but I'll just always reference Lamb in every review somehow.
Oh, Lamb had a semi-hot chick in it though.
True. I mean, like, I guess this one doesn't. Yeah, you don't get one.
You don't get a woman.
Nope.
It's all men.
It's all men all the time.
It's all Brokeback Mountain style. Bow, 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 bow.
So yeah, the music.
It's for Pride Month.
It's for June. You know, it's June 2022, and this is the film we're recommending for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the music, sound, awesome, very good, and yeah, how it was shot, cinematography. I don't think I even had to say a whole lot. It's done very well. Yeah, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, you had mentioned earlier the contrast where he's having his little flashback things. I thought that was really clever.
Yes, that's actually, yeah, that deserves to be brought up again. The like the sets or whatever they did for that, really, really, really freaking awesome.
I don't think another character had one of those flashbacks. So we didn't get to experience their thing. I think the only other shot that I would say that is, well, not the only other one, but another one that I think should be noteworthy is when they find that little cabin in the forest. They decide to stay there, and then you see like the little idol thingy that's made for this guy, the monster.
Oh yeah.
That is really cool. And then the scene where they all are waking up from their nightmares, and the one bro is just naked worshiping the thing. I think that was a cool scene. It's like I'm pretty sure they have it panned so that you can like see him worshiping. You see the idol thing, and then you see like a ray coming out from outside, and that's a neat shot.
Yeah, the ray of light or whatever. That is really good. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else now that you mentioned that I should like say, but I can't really think of anything. Cinematography, awesome, very good. So,
yeah,
are there any other films that this film reminds you of?
I want to make sure I get the name of this correct because I said it wrong earlier, and it was a weird French film. Just want to make sure. Encounters. Wait, no, that's the wrong one.
Isn't it the fourth encounter?
So just I think it's just the fourth encounter. I'm gonna verify that really quick.
So I have once you're done. Yeah, it's the fourth kind.
Yeah, the fourth kind would be a film that I think gives you similar creepy tension building vibes that I would recommend. And if you like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really actually want to watch this. That 6-8 recommends that is rated lower, I'll probably like more than what the rating is. So I really want to check that out. But funny little side story, trying to figure out what that movie was. At first, when he was describing it, for some reason, I thought it was Close Encounters of a Third Kind. And then so I was doing some looking around because he remembered that it said fourth in it. So we stumbled upon a film called The Very, Very Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, which is apparently like a French S&M porno film that has aliens in it. I've never seen it, but
slightly different viewing
experience. You know, it's the cover looks kind of interesting though.
It's close. It's close, but not quite.
So yeah, my recommendation, and this one is kind of doesn't make any sense, kind of at all. Oh my word, where did it just go? It's oh my god, my brain. yeah, completely kind of irrelevant and doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But some of the story elements, like dealing with the grief or whatever, reminded me, for whatever reason, of Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, which is obviously I think is Wes Anderson's worst film. I know that's an extreme hot take, but that's all right because it has the awesome William Defoe squatting scene. All that aside, anyway, that's my recommendation. Um, well, we should
I've never
definitely
seen the
review it. I
movie.
should watch it again because I watched it with a group of friends a while ago, and I was just not vibing with it. And I don't know. I'm definitely willing to watch it again and change my opinion.
My word, it's got freaking
Yeah, Bill Murray's the main
Bill
character.
Murray in it. Brother.
Also, I think it's
What?
really funny that it has the dude from Mod. Oh my god, what the hell is the name of that movie? There's a movie I'll put on screen now that I can't remember and that I also really, really despise, which is an extreme classic film. And it's kind of an older film. And yeah, it has this guy in it who I'd never seen as like an older person, and I was like, "Wow, would you look at that?" Oh, wait, Harold and Maude. Okay, Harold and Maude is considered just like a classic. I don't like it very much. Um, it doesn't remind me of it. Okay, we're on a tangent. Anyway, what score does The Ritual get out of 5?
The Ritual. It gets a 4. 4 for me. 4 and I enjoy it. It's one of my favorite horror films.
From me, it gets a 3.5. It is good. You should watch. Do it now.